Hello everyone, Albert here with Seattle Edge. This video is going to be covering honing. Now before we can get into honing technique, we have to answer a few of the most commonly asked questions. First question being, what is honing and what's the difference between honing and sharpening? Now honing is very different than sharpening. When you're honing a knife, you're just standing the edge back up. Every edge eventually is going to roll. Even if you have very, very hard steel, at one point that edge is going to roll to one side or the other. When they're honing, that just stands the edge straight back up. When you're sharpening, that's when you're actually removing steel from the knife. You want to hone regularly, that way you don't have to sharpen as often. The more steel you remove from the knife, the smaller your knife gets, you decrease the lifespan of your knife. Now, the next question being, what do I use to hone? There's many, many different products out there. Well, most knife sets come with a metal rod. Now, most metal rods are very, very rough. I don't recommend them because they're so rough they can actually start to create these little micro fractures that go right along the cutting edge over time. I highly recommend using ceramic rods. Fine grit ceramic rods are a fantastic alternative to honing. They're very, very refined compared to your standard steel rod, and that's not going to be creating those little micro fractures, and they work very, very quickly, so you get the best of both worlds there. Now these guys are about 1200 grit, and they will last for a very long time provided that you take care of them. So there are two primary techniques used in honing. The first is the vertical technique, the second is the horizontal technique. Now with the vertical technique, what we're going to be doing, placing the honing rod straight down on a flat surface, creating a 90-degree angle between the rod and the surface, and you're just going to go straight down the rod like you're taking a slice off of the rod, like you're carving a roast. And you want about a 15 to 17 degree angle. What you're going to do, start at the beginning of the edge or flush with the bolster and go straight down towards the tip and lift out. Now you don't want to drive the tip into the cutting board because you can bend or even snap the tip, so don't damage your knife. Once again, start at the beginning of the edge or flush with the bolster and go straight down and lift out. You can do the exact same thing to take care of the other side. Once again, at the beginning of the edge, going straight down to the tip and lift it out. Once again, straight down to the tip. Let's take a look at this from a different angle.
From here, you can see we've established our angle at roughly 15 degrees, and we're using the index finger as an angle guide, which is either flush with the bolster or just above the edge. Now you want to make sure that your finger is not making contact with the edge or you can get cut. We're isolating movement in the wrist, keeping that angle consistent, going straight down using a nice and light but consistent pressure. Now you don't want to muscle your knife into the rod. When you're using too much pressure, you can actually damage your blade, and then it has to be sharpened. So just enough pressure to keep it on the rod and just a little bit more than that. Now if everything feels nice and smooth and even, that's when you know you're doing it right. And if you have scratches starting at the beginning of the edge and then tapering up towards the spine, that means your angle is too shallow and you want to bring it out just a little bit. And same exact technique from a different angle.
The horizontal technique is very similar to the vertical technique. All the same principles are being used, just a little bit differently. So for the horizontal, what we're going to do, we're going to hold the rod directly out in front of the body, creating a 90-degree plane, once again. And you can use your thumb as an angle guide with the knife. So what you're going to do, you're going to place your thumb in the middle of the spine of the knife, 50-50, and go ahead and place the knife directly on the rod along with your thumb, making contact, starting at the beginning of the edge or flush with the bolster, and go straight out to the tip and lift up. You don't want to go straight down because you can damage the tip of your knife. Once again, starting at the beginning of the edge or flush with the bolster, thumb touching the rod, straight out and lift up. We're ready to hone the other side of the knife. Just go ahead and switch hands. Once again, thumb 50-50, starting at the beginning of the edge or flush with the bolster, going straight out to the tip and then lift up. Straight out to the tip and lift up. Now if you're comfortable doing this with one hand, what you can do, of course, first pass, just starting off doing the exact same thing, lift up, and for the return pass, first things first, make sure your fingers are out of the way because the blade's coming towards your body. Start at the beginning of the edge once again and have your finger going straight down at a 45-degree angle right here. Yeah, you can use your index finger as an angle guide as well. And just go straight to the tip and then lift up this way. Let's do that again. Starting at the beginning of the edge, index finger making contact with the rod, coming straight towards yourself, and then lifting up. Let's take a look at that from a different angle.
From this view, we can see the horizontal technique with the thumb set up as the angle guide. Go straight out the rod to the tip, and then lift up. Once again, nice and clean movement, even angle, light pressure. Switching to the left carefully. Thumb once again as an angle guide. Straight out towards the tip and lift up. Even pressure, consistent angle as before. Now we're going to switch back to the right hand side and do a single pass technique. Rotate into a pinch grip. Come straight back. Once again, same technique as before, straight out, rotate into a pinch grip, and come straight down.
So those are the two honing techniques. Now, there's no set amount of passes that a specific knife requires. Due to the variances in alloys and the hardness of the steel, one knife may require more passes than another. Typically, your knives with really hard steel are going to need more passes on a honing rod compared to something with softer steel. Your higher carbon knives usually have softer steel, so they may require a few more passes, but this isn't something that you need to do for 20 minutes. Normally, just 5 to 6 passes per side. With some knives, even less. We'll just stand that edge right back up. Now, if an edge has rolled over severely, with that very first pass, you may feel the edge almost catch a little bit. And that's natural. That's because it's standing that edge back up. So, normally, with my knives, I usually do about 3 to 5 passes on each side. And when you feel that the edge is gliding smoothly over the rod and you're not getting a bunch of resistance, that's when you're ready to start cooking. Now, just like your knives, these ceramic honing rods require just a little bit of care. First thing, make sure they don't fall off the counter. They can break under impact, so just make sure that they stay on the counter and you're going to be fine. Now, you'll notice that this rod is gray compared to these brand new ones, which are nice and white. This happens because a little bit of steel is removed when you're using these. Not much, because it is a very fine surface, but a little bit is removed nonetheless. Now, they do make these specialized erasers that are made specifically for steel removal from these honing rods, usually about $5 to $7. I'm not going to sell them to you because you don't need them. This little guy, standard issue pink eraser, is going to get the job done just fine. What you want to do, just go ahead and brace the rod. Just make sure it's not going anywhere. And all you do, just go ahead and get this eraser and just rub it straight up and down, just like that. And you can actually see that coming right off, and the rubber just takes it right off. There we go. All you have to do is go ahead and wipe that rubber off, and you have a nice, clean, effective honing surface once again. If you're in the Seattle area, just come on down to Fremont, say hi. I'd be more than happy to show this to you in person. And I do sell these rods, both the 10 and the 12 inch. The 10 inch is $26.95 and the 12 inch is $28.95. They work very, very well, and that's exactly why I carry them. I carry what I use personally. For more information about Seattle Edge, come down, check out my website at www.knifesharpeningseattle.com. Thanks for watching.